All right. Commonly asked questions on this build up here. It said it's a 04 Tahoe block, got a different, or engine got a different, I think it's a Holly pan on it too, oil pan. And the intake, I was just gonna go around and say some stuff that a lot of people text me, a lot of people message me, and that's cool. I appreciate it, I really do. But never had done a video on any kind of the buildup, which is there isn't a whole lot to say, I don't guess. But as you know me, I've been a machinist for good golly. I started in before I was 20, matter of fact. But so I made a lot of stuff, and I know you can't see it here, but the intake manifold, everybody says, what intake did you use? Well, yeah, there are several on the market, and there's some good ones. The one I used was a Holly 2 4-barrel or 2 throttle body one. I got a good deal on it. It was off of Craigslist. A woman was going to sell it, and her husband had split up, so she was selling his stuff. And so that's where I got the oil pan and the Holly 2.4, I guess you'd say a low-rise aluminum intake. And yeah, you can't see it from here. But anyways, I got the intake for $100, the oil pan for $50, so I paid $150 for an oil pan and a low-rise. That's why, you can see part of it. That's part of the original one right there, that arm. But as you know, if it's a carburetor one, it's angled. The back pad for the carburetor throttle body, but it really was made for 2.4s. It sits higher, it's angled at the top. So there's about an inch drop from the back to the front. So I made an adapter plate, which is a box, and had to angle the bottom, but keep the top level to keep this pulley, the pulley and the belt aligned, the bottom pulley and the top pulley. Now, it was a little bit of math involved, but I do that every day, and I made it a 2-piece one, so you can lift this top off, and I've got Loctite and lock washers on the 4 bolts holding it together. And people also ask me, yeah, there's spider web back here. People ask me, why in the world did you cut your firewall so much? Well, it was cut a long time ago, not this much, but it was cut a long time ago. This car originally had a big block in it. Before I say originally, it was original 6-cylinder 3-speed, but somebody had swapped a big block in it with a tunnel ram. Now these old 55s and 56s, 57s, you can put it in there without notching your firewall. It's easier to notch it. Now, the reason why mine is notched so far back, and people ask me this, is there any way I can put the supercharger on there without notching my firewall so bad? And you can. This is an 8V. You put a 6V, it's not near as bad, but I wanted to put the weight on the intake on those. There's 8 bolts holding my adapter box to the Holly intake, and I wanted it centered over it so it would hold the weight. You know, going down the road, drag car, I'd never thought twice about it. I'd put it up front and done with it, but it being a street car, pretty much, I decided I wanted to distribute the load somewhat, so that's why I notched mine so bad. Other question people say, you're running 2.4s, and they said, no, they're throttle bodies. I said, yeah, and I've got them hooked together. Originally I had, and you can see there's some of the linkage back here. You can't really see it real good. And mine is not a show car by any means. I am not a show car worthy person. I piece them together and hack and whack, and this is what goes. But getting back on the throttle bodies, these are off of a 2000 Camaro. They're 3-bolt throttle bodies. They're what I had laying around. People say, how do you run it with 2 TPSs, 2 IACs, all that stuff? Tell you what, I've got one TPS. It's on the front one right here. The back one doesn't have it. The back one I've got the IAC hooked to. Bad thing is, when I made these adapters, I did not make provisions for the air to go through there, so that's pretty much useless. The other thing says, people ask me, where's your MAF? Well, it don't have one. It runs a speed density tune, and like I said, Nick Malinsky in New York. Now, he HP tuners, and I don't think he'd ever done it before, but he caught on to it real good. And I couldn't ask for a better tune. Like I said, he's got my computer back again, but I think he's mostly gonna mess with the transmission stuff. And I appreciate him for doing that. I tell you what, we're all in this together. Help out when you can and pass it along. But like I said, I went over, we'll see what intake I made, or, you know, pieced together. The header, that's another thing I got. I had 2 sets of headers. I had a set of Shorty LS headers, and then I had a set of the 454 chassis headers, which was the engine that used to be in here. Plus I got pipe from a swing set and all kinds of other stuff. Now, I welded all of this with an arc welder. You can't weld that stuff with arc. Yes, you can. If I would grind it, it would look a lot better. These were supposed to be temporary headers, and I was gonna make another set. I have not done that yet, but like I said, everybody says, why in the world do the welds look like it? Well, they just do. Welded all of that with arc welder, no helmet, no face shield. Did it hurt your eyes? Yes. Would I recommend it? No, but I did it. So, oh, that's another question right here, this pulley. Everybody said, when are you gonna put a smaller pulley on it? Yeah, that's coming. I've got the other one, I can swap it down here, but we'll put a smaller one. I'm just, like I said, I've got so much stuff going on. I just haven't had time. Oh, this is another big thing. A lot of people laughed about this. If you hadn't noticed, now it's not even, you can tell it's not hooked up anything. This is a nitrous kit. Now I run across it, funny story with it too. I'm not gonna get into that one, but somehow or another I ended up with a nitrous kit. When I used to race, I never used nitrous. Nothing against it, it's good stuff. I just never did. Now me and Nick and Justin Conrad, a lot of people I've talked to, everybody says that's another question. You've got to run fuel through here to cool the rotors. I don't know about all that. I do know, see this intake, this supercharger, this blower was on a military transport. Same thing that was in some buses and regular trucks and all. There was never any fuel through it, no diesel fuel through it to cool them. This one also, an 8V, it had a turbo running to the blower, and then of course the diesel was injected lower, you know, farther in the intake track. But of course, now that people are right, as far as the rotors, most times they don't grow bigger, they'll grow longer. And I machined in these plates, the front plate and the back plate, I machined 5 more thousandths clears. Now I haven't had any problem with it. But all that being said, this nitrous here, I probably won't run nitrous on it. I'm probably gonna use this to inject methanol, or as we call it, what is it called, windshield washer fluid, into there to cool it down. I haven't seen any problem with it, but then again, I haven't sitting in traffic. Like I said, I live in the country. So, you know, I had that other video, I went through the town. That video I took was on a Saturday about 10 o'clock. Not a whole lot of bustling activity, but so anyways. Oh, the other thing people used to ask me, how do you keep that thing cool? Well, that radiator is a genuine 1974 Suburban big block 454 400. That's what engine I pulled out and put in this one. And when I pulled the last small block, which was a stroke 350, it was a 383. But that radiator right there, I've never had any problems with it. I had to solder a few places on it, but it's thick. It's a thick core radiator. Tell you what, the superchargers do put out heat. We're also talking, Nick and I and a few other ones, about an intercooler to go under here. Now they make them, and if you can afford one, I'm proud for you. I like to see people get ahead. I just know me, I'm gonna probably end up making something, but once again, I have not driven mine long enough really to, I haven't run into a problem with it. I have not romped down on it, as I say, neither. So that will probably throw up problems. Like I said before, the 4L60E I've got in here is it's a weak link, and I do have a 9-inch in the back and 4 11s, but and I'm sure that'll hold up. But the transmission, it's gonna go, I don't know what all else. Oh, so another question that people ask me, they say, why in the world, let me see, I know I'm walking around here probably making y'all sick, but why in the world is your engine set back so far? And the only good answer I can tell you, and I was thinking about ground clearance on the roads out here, but that's just how it fit best. Now, if you was to leave the angle of your drive line, your drive shaft, the same, following it down, and it hooked to the rear end, it would put way more strain on that the back universal joint. So what I did was I rotated the rear end up. I want to say it was like 5 degrees. I can't remember now, but I did rotate the rear end, the pinion angle in the back up to be parallel with the angle of the drive shaft coming out of the transmission. As long as those two are parallel, not in line. You don't want it in line. You don't want a straight shot there, because that is problems. But as long as the tail shaft, the engine, the crankshaft center line, the transmission center line, and your pinion shaft, your pinion center line have to be parallel. It doesn't matter which way they pointing, except for if you leak fluids out. But anyway, so this is going to hurt anything on mine? No. I run the same thing in drag cars before. When you had clearance problems, I do the same thing, and I've had several of them. These little old cameras are pretty neat, that you can record stuff and all. We didn't have this stuff back then. I remember when I had 8mm stuff, and I wasn't looking at stuff around. Like I've always had, I either had to make a choice, either have a nice garage and a little bit of a car, or else I'd have a drag car and no garage. So that's what I had. But anyway, those are frequently asked questions. The coils are still on top of the valve covers. I didn't move these. I did use, this is old school, the old Axle wires. You cut the length. I run 2 in the front, 2 in the back. It works out good. I got the heater hose loop right there so far, no problems. Like I said, got 2 electric fans on it. Haven't really used them that much. I ran without, well, no, it had a thermostat in it, but what I was calling it was a gutted one. You know how you gut the insides of it out? But I finally bit the bullet, put a regular thermostat in it, and it's worked out good. Do need to put a coolant recovery, don't have that on it. It's just got just a hose there for it. So, but did make the, going on stuff I made though, I did make the adapter, the box for to go between the Holly intake and the blower. Made this arm, you can still, start to see if you can see it good in here. The sun's shining kind of bright too, but you can see the marks there. I used a roughing ML on it, but I made the mark. I mean, made the tension, the idler pulley arm, made this, the blower drive. Borrowed friends and copied it, made it. What all? Oh yeah, I mentioned the adapter that goes down in the stock truck. Yeah, I can't see nothing here. The stock truck balancer, and it doesn't clamp on the 3 ribs that are on it. It doesn't clamp on that. It just kind of uses them to drive the thing. And so far it's held up, but then again, like I said, I haven't really put any power behind it, so we'll see. Standard old regulator. But anyway, those are frequently asked questions. Once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see what else we can do later. Y'all have a good one. Bye. Hey, there's something I was going to add. I'd not forgot about it, but just neglected to put it in the video. I had help out there at my machine shop. I didn't do everything by myself. May have come up with some of the ideas, but I was going to tell you, if you get hung up doing stuff or couldn't figure something out, run an idea by somebody and you'd be surprised what they'll come up with. If it hadn't been for the ones at work, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I did on the car as it is. Do a lot of things by myself, but by golly, it helps to have friends in machine shops and friends that are machinists, and they help me out. I won't say their names. They know who they are, and but I appreciate them. And like I said, I hope and whatever you do on your vehicles, just acknowledge your friends and thank them for what they do. It makes all the world of difference, and I appreciate each and every one of them. So just a little add. I did them add to the video anyways, but I appreciate my friends. I thank you for all the help you've given me. All right, we'll see you next time.